Eyes down for the Morning folks, it's a dull and dreary Monday. Here's a nice shiny Holbrook, and over there, what is this? It is in fact the remains of an old charnwood stove, right, which I am going to use for the workshop heater Mark II. Right? I'm not going to use the pipes from it at all. I'm not going to use the tank. I'm going to line it with fire brick. Just use it as a heat producer to fire my already operating warm air system. But the first thing to do is to get the old shields off it, because it's a bit rusty in places, and I've even a feeling that it might be that the tank might be knackered. It's a pity, because it was a good stove, but it's been left dumped in a corner in a damp shed for far too long. So it's a matter of getting the parts freed up and working, and then checking it out and seeing how bad it is. So that's what I'm going to do this morning, because I'm not going to do any more to the Holbrook until the dye comes for this thread, and then I can just run a dye down it and I can clean this bit up. When you think about this piece of the thread, that's the piece of thread that actually ejects the tool, ejects the Morse taper. And if the Morse taper has been hammered in because the taper itself was damaged, then you can understand why that piece of thread is stretched. Well, I can soon restore that with a dye, so not a problem. Right, I'm going to crack on with this, and I'll bring you back when I've got somewhere. Bye now. Right folks, I've been on it all day. Monday, 4:30, yeah, 4:30, 4:29, and it's all working again. I've drilled out all the sheared off bolts in that holds glass in. I've freed off all the riddling mechanism, which works perfectly. I have got all those out, because that's got a broken corner on it, unfortunately. You see that there? Right, that was cracked. So that needs, but I'm probably not going to use that anyway. And unfortunately, two of these bolts sheared off, and they are into the water jacket, which I'm not going to use, but I'm going to just very carefully drill those out, tap them a smaller size internally, and put another bolt on top. It's just a bung. I probably shouldn't have taken it off, but I thought, I know if I don't take it off it'll leak. And when I got it off, I looked at it and thought it probably wouldn't have leaked, but never mind. I cannot get those out, but I'm not that bothered. So what I'm probably going to do is just whack some bungs into them and just test the tank and see if it is any good. Because there's a possibility, I'm thinking, that this is a much higher output stove than the one I've actually got to heat the rest of the building, so I could swap them over. But I think for now I'm just going to use this one to heat this place. Even though it's March and it's almost to the point where we don't need heating anymore. The doors are a bit warped. I've got that stuck now, but the doors are warped. But I can carefully warm those up and ease them back. I'm going to leave them closed overnight and hope that they straighten out a bit. But the whole thing's actually it's remarkably. I really don't believe it, but it's. You can tell how tight they are, but it's remarkably freed off. Even the riddling bars all this is as far as I know it's a Hunter, which are very good stoves. But there you go, and the whole thing apart from the front is a tank. The sides, the top, it's all tank, so it's very good at heating water. But whether it would hold water now or not, I don't know. I'll have to bang some bungs in it and stick some compressed air in it and see if I can hear anything hissing. Anyway, that's it for today, folks. I'll see you all tomorrow. What a boring, dirty job. Never mind. At the end of it, we'll have a warm workshop again, which you can't beat. That paraffin blower heater is great, but it uses diesel. Diesel's expensive. Oh, that happens all the time. The compressor comes on all the time, and of course it doesn't get warm over this end. This end, unfortunately, stays flat cold. So with the air heating system, the whole workshop is beautifully warm. Right, see you all tomorrow. Bye now. Afternoon, folks. It's me. Well, who else would you expect on this channel? Doesn't that look well? It's beginning to look good. It's a pity about those two screws, but this piece was missing and had obviously been broken off at some time, so I made that piece to fit in, and that it looks better than it did. But the die has come, so I'm going to have a quick whiz down this thread and see if I can take any metal out. It is tight there and it is tight there, but I'm going to pop it in a die holder. I'll start off with it. I'll start off with the centre screw in to open it out to its maximum size, and then we'll gradually reduce it and just see if we can scrape a little bit off that end and scrape a little bit off that end so that it fits smoothly. What else has been happening? Nothing. Hull this morning to Hull Royal for an appointment for my dear wife, and then on to Harry's and Company Limited, which is a wonderful Hull-based world food supermarket, which is just a fabulous place. If you're in Hull, go and look at it. It's on Beverley Road. Right, so that's done. This is all done. I've been thinking, laying in bed thinking about how I can do this, and I've worked it out. Everything's working on there. The next job, of course, is to tear that one to pieces. To tear the failed one. It's done a few years, it's not done bad, but it's a pain in the arse that it's failed. But I shall tear that one to pieces next, because of course I need the heat exchanger off that to put onto the top of that, so that the I may shorten it down a bit. Who knows? We'll see. But I've worked out how to do it. I'm going to put a flange joint on where it joins onto the heat exchanger. I'm going to make a round plate for there with a short piece of tube on it, with a flange on the top that joins onto the heat exchanger, and then I'm going to line this with fire brick so that most of the heat goes straight up. It doesn't get into this metal, it goes straight up. And I'm going to put a different type of deflector plate in there to keep the heat away from the tank and to send it straight up into the heat exchanger. So then we'll have our warm air heating back. Right, first of all I'm going to put this die in a die stock, and I'm going to see if I can sort this thread out. Onward, folks. That's with the split die set at the maximum open, and it's glided down there. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to slacken off the middle screw and tighten up the two outside ones slightly, close the die up a bit, and see if it takes a scrape off, which is what I want to do. I want it to scrape there and be clear in the middle. So let's give that a go and see if it works. Right, by putting the die down onto the free section of the thread, I can progressively slacken this and tighten these two until it tightens right up on the nice section of the thread, the undamaged portion, and then I can bring it up to the 2 damaged portions and dampen the damaged portion and free it, and see if I can free it off that way. So what I'm doing at the moment is progressively slackening the middle screw and tightening the outer screws to close the die up slightly, to just to increase its cut. So I shall crack on with that and see if it works. Right folks, and the answers are, it's working. Now can you see in there, there's just a tiny bit of swarf. Yes, you can see it there, can't you? There's a tiny bit of swarf, and it's polishing the top ridge of the threads. Now when you think about this thing, when I stripped it down, the pin that holds the hand wheel on was sheared. Well, of course it was sheared, because they've been spinning it up to try and push out a damaged Morse taper out the end of it, and they've strained the thread, but not too badly. So I think I can save this. So that's why the pin was sheared. Right, I'm going to nip it down a bit and carry on. You see, I've still got quite a lot of gap there, so I've still got quite a lot of adjustment left that I can tighten the thread up. It's working. Bye now. Right folks, well, as you can probably see, this thread on here now looks so much better. But whilst I have got some adjustment left on that die to take some more off it, I'm going to bore you all to death, and I'm going to do what I should have done in the first place, which is order a tap as well. Because I'm just going to check that this thread is okay. I don't want to take any more off that. It's virtually free in that piece now, but it's still tight at the bottom. It's still tight at the bottom, and that it will be where it's been wound to extract the Morse taper, because the purpose of this long piece on the end is that when you wind it right back, i.e. over that bit of thread, that comes in contact with the Morse taper and pushes the whatever you've got stuck in the taper out. But as I said before, this taper is damaged, right? And I've got a pair of reamers supposedly coming, but they haven't arrived yet, and they're a little bit well, they're quite a lot overdue now, but they may be coming from China, I don't know. I didn't check carefully enough when I ordered them. But when I ream that out, it's only going to literally clean it up, right? And then there's a fine finish, there's a coarse reamer and a fine finishing reamer, so it's literally going to clean that up. But it will have the effect of moving the Morse taper back down the tube a little bit, right? I haven't ground anything off the end of that, but I have reduced the side where it was really damaged, so that shouldn't damage again. But I'm going to order a tap. I should have ordered the tap and die. Me being penny pinching again, I mean the die was 20 quid, well 19 quid, the tap's 20 quid, but they're good for stock, aren't they? And you can do all sorts with them once you've got them. Once you've got them, you think, oh, just a minute, I could make a left-hand thread and nut, because I've got the tap and the die for it. Right, I'm now going to put my overalls on, and I'm going to move into there, and I'm going to start pulling the monster to pieces. So I'll bring you back when I'm doing that. Bye now. Right folks, he said, that's the firebox out. Right, I was unable to tilt it onto the sack barrow because it was too heavy, so I put a chain round it, put the chain round behind the sack barrow and tilted the sack barrow, and I was just able to move it. I should have put the chain underneath that damper there, never mind. Right, so that's number one piece out, that's the firebox out, which is the hardest part, because all the rest comes to pieces, which is what I'm going to do next. Take the lid off, take the drum off. Do I have to take the fan off? Do I have to take the fan off? The fan looks like it's actually on. Yeah, there's a few bolts, but I think I'll take the fan off. It's going to be easy to take the fan off. I shall do that. This just goes up to that box and plugs in, so dead easy to move, but I can probably just lift it to one side and pile it among all this junk, which is probably going to go the way of all things. Oh, just a minute. There's that thermostatic vent again. Could be useful. On this stove is actually automatically controlled. This control wasn't working, and then I noticed that the tags had bent over and it had come to pieces. So I've put it back together. I'm assuming that this is working because it's not actually broken. It may well not be. It may have leaked all the alcohol or whatever out years ago, right? But what I can do is put a thermostatic control in the heat output so that when it gets too hot it closes the damper and effectively shuts the fire down. But that's for the future. At the moment the thing to do is to get the heat exchanger taken out of there, and then I can get it put onto there. I think if you just look here, can you see these here? Right, these are leaks. Right, these are smoke leaks. Smoke leaks that will be drawn straight into the fan and blown around the workshop. The reason I stopped using this was nothing other than it was setting off my CO2 alarm. Right, within 30 minutes of lighting it, it set off the CO2 alarm. So I thought, right, that's faulty, that's no good, that has to be shut down. So that's what I'm doing. Redesigning for a better future. Bye now. Right folks, the witching hour is upon us. I've only been here this afternoon because I was in Hull this morning. But I've got the fan just on its last couple of bolts. I've got the top off. There's the inverted heat exchanger inside and its directing vanes. So we're about there really. A few more screws and nuts out and it'll all come to pieces. And then I can wheel this bit out the bottom and it's done. But you can see where it's been leaking and it's just been, I don't know why, I don't know what's happened. It was all that was screwed down, and obviously it's broken internally and that's why it's letting the smoke out, and of course being dragged straight into the fan. I really need to mount that fan remotely, but whether I will or not I don't know. Perhaps in the fullness of time I will. Let's see how it goes, one bit at a time. Right, I'll see you all tomorrow. Bye now. Good morning people. Thursday, and time to continue taking this to pieces. Now then, here's the thing. When I installed this, it was based on one I had seen similar in, I believe it was Moore and Wright's in Sheffield, the famous toolworks which I was lucky enough to get a trip round when I was at school many years ago, and they had a line of molten lead bath forges which all had extractors above them which went into a big manifold and carried all the fumes away. Now I thought, oh yeah, right, that's the way I'll do it. I'll just put a manifold on the wall, and I had some galvo steel like that bent at 90 degrees. So I thought, right, two of those pieces tacked together, some tape over the joint, that'll work, right? And it did, and the whole thing went together fantastically, except for one thing. It doesn't work, right? It's too much. When you light the forge, there's too much smoke comes out of the forge for that to carry it away, even with the fan assist on. I And if you look at the actual size of the forged flue and the size I've reduced it to, it's not really surprising. So what I may do this summer, or when the weather gets better, when I re-roof this piece, because we had a leak there, right? When I re-roof this piece, I'm just going to over-roof it with the insulated metal roof sheets, like I have done the rest of the workshop. When I over-roof this, I may put a flue full size straight out for the forge and go straight up through the roof. It's the only way, and I may do away with this manifold as well. The same with this, really. This worked. It worked beautifully. It warmed the workshop beautifully. It was completely silent apart from the fan purring away. And it warmed the workshop beautifully, but unfortunately the rocket stove part I built into it is leaking carbon monoxide, and that's getting into the fan, so it's got to go. So I'm going to carry on tearing it to pieces. But this is an example of over design or overthinking something, right? This is basically what I wanted to say. If you're going to do something that's completely new and experimental, start off with it simple and build the complexity into it. Don't try and think your way around every possible problem and then build it once and build it right, because you're far more likely, in my estimation anyway, to come unstuck, like I did with this. There was a lot of work went into this. There was quite a lot of work went into that. Now, quite a lot of it's right. That works. It extracts well. You turn that off, you turn the forge on, you light the forge, and it fills the place with smoke. So it's no good. Basically, I need a better flue, and I think it needs to go straight up and out the top. Having said that, I've hardly used the forge because I've now got this gas forge, and that's okay for heating metal up, just to bend it and things like that. What you've got to remember is that a gas forge will not get your metal as hot as a coke forge. A coke forge will actually melt the end off your piece of bar. This won't, right? It doesn't get as hot. It's okay, but it doesn't get as hot. So, if I'm going to use this, I may as well do it properly. And as I say, when I come to re-roof this, I might do it. I'll get in trouble, of course. I know I'll get in trouble about it, but never mind. I don't care anymore. I'm too old to care now. Right, onward. Let's get this pulled to pieces, dragged out into the main workshop, and see if we can't make some sense of it. Bye now. Stage 2, and this is the problem. It is absolutely chock-a-block with that. And from the smell of that, I know exactly what it is. It's timber because I've been burning wood on this, it's timber condensate. The cooling of the heat exchanger has condensed the wood gases on the inside of the heat exchanger, and it's all cracked off and dropped back in, and it's also actually broken the elbow. I did hear a bang, and this is a porcelain drain elbow, standing elbow, which stands up like that, as you can see from that piece, like that, and that has just shattered. So there you are, there's an idea that didn't work. So we're going to have to run the heat exchanger much hotter and make the flue much easier to get out of. So there was no repairing that, folks. That was an idea that didn't work. Thank God for hydraulic platforms, eh? It all went wrong under there. Bye now. Right, folks, therein lies the problem. That is the flue outlet pipe. As you can see, all the condensate is collected on there, and you can see that that pipe is about 1/3 full of condensed wood gases, which is not very nice stuff at all. So I think I need to rethink the heat exchanger, because this heat exchanger was obviously far too good at cooling the flue gases, and I didn't think it was good enough. I didn't think it would peel enough heat off, and it did straight away. You only had to really light the boiler once, and if it burnt for 2 or 3 hours, the whole workshop was hot, and well, not hot, but warm enough to work in. You didn't want it any hotter, put it like that, and it was beautiful. So I think we need to rethink the way that this works. We need to rethink a heat exchanger that will take some heat out, but leave the flue gases. I've just had a thought. It will leave the flue gases hot, or it will condense them somewhere where they can be cleaned out, or where they will continue to burn. Right, this is going to require some thought, folks. Anyway, I've got the flue off. I've got the whole thing carted out of here by means of a ratchet strap and the good old hydraulic platform. And you can see how that is, I mean, ignore this. Ignore this. You can see how that has completely filled up. That should be completely empty there, and that's completely filled up with wood coke, if you like. That's exactly what that is. And of course, what it's done is blocked all the flueways, which is why it wouldn't circulate. I had a wonderful system with a damper handle there, that when you push the damper handle in, the smoke circulated round, or the flue gas circulated round, and heated the fire bricks that are in the bottom of this. Well, it's obvious that didn't work, and look how full that is of coke in there. Can you see in there? Maybe not. Yes, you can. There you go. Right, rethink required. I'll bring you back later. Well, folks, I've had a rethink. This is designed to heat water. It will actually heat a lot of radiators, believe it or not. I think it's up to 11 or something like that. But it's got a huge firebox, and it is designed to be run with coal or wood. So you can imagine that heat would heat a lot of radiators. Here, I've got 2 gas boiler heat exchangers. I could use that directly as a water heater, put a mini heating circuit in with a small pump, which I've got out of an old gas boiler, with a small pump and a little header tank, and pump the water around there and blow air through there, which would extract heat from the boiler without causing the wood condensate. So if I ran it on wood, it would obviously not be as efficient as if it was run on coal. Well, it's not going to be run on coal, it's going to be run on wood. But if I ran it on wood and used a wet circuit to extract the heat, with those two side by side with the fan blowing through them, what would that be like? I've only got these as a matter of luck, because the reason I kept them was because I actually forgot to weigh them in for scrap. They've got bent, that's got bent there, but that will easily straighten out again. We can easily put that right. I know they don't leak. So they're out of a condensing gas. Oh, they're out of 2 condensing gas boilers. So there you go. Would it work? I think it would. But that's the thing is, if I do that, Right, I'm going to have a much more compact system, and I'm not going to be creating that horrible wood coke in the, I think this is a, I think that's probably solid with wood coke in there. I haven't turned it over yet, I daren't turn it over. But there we go, I think this could be, apart from this metal sheet, I think this could be going for scrap. So there you go. At least we've got a flange to mount the heater on, because that just bolts to this. Never mind, we've learnt something. Don't extract heat directly from the flue gases, because you'll create wood coke. Right, I'm going to crack on. Bye now. Right folks, now you can see the problem. Look at the build up in there. That's all condensed out of the gases, out of the fumes from the wood, because this surface of this inner drum has been cooled by the airflow. It has literally pulled all that out of the wood, so that is all unburnt. That's all unburnt creosote and carbon and crap like that, which is why you've got to make sure that the inside of your flue on a wood burner is regularly cleaned and is insulated and runs as hot as it can. That way you can get a clean burn. You can get all this stuff to burn because it's all flammable. Right? This is where you need a wood stove which has top air, which supplies air above the fire, so that all those vapours catch fire and burn. Right, I'm salvaging this piece. I'm salvaging that because I bought that new. That's good galvo steel, and I had it rolled as well. The rest is going for scrap. So I've got that to get outside, and I've got that huge lump down there to get outside as well. So I'll crack on with that. Bye now. Right folks, it's almost the witching hour and it's all out. It's all out, including the grotty flue, which is almost blocked up as well. And as usual, I lost control and had a huge tidy out, and got rid of, apart from the boiler, the ex-boiler, a load of scrap, which I'm sure some of you are saying, don't throw that away, that's useful. Well, I know it is, but will I ever use it? That's the thing. Right, see you all tomorrow for Friday's fun and games. Bye now. Good afternoon folks, Friday, and I got some items in the post this morning. They arrived just as I was leaving the house, a pair of reamers, and these arrived the previous day, which is the glass fibre rope for the stove doors over there, and from Graham Sea Dog some 2BA Allen grub screws. Thank you very much, sir. They are going to sort me out. I'm going to get one of those out in a minute and just check that it's a fit, and I'm sure it is because it's 2BA by 1 inch, and that's exactly what I wanted. But first, these are Chinese reamers. These came from all the way from China, because when they hadn't arrived after a week, I checked up and I had actually ordered them direct from China. But no matter, they've arrived. And when I started to use them, I thought, yeah, these are not really cutting very well. So I got this little stone, very nice, and I just ran under the edge there very gently, about 3 or 4 times on each one. What a difference. What a difference. It now cuts really well. Right? And if I can find my little light that I've now lost. Glass, oh, here it is. Right, I can show you, with a bit of care, I can show you the inside. And you can see how bad Can you see there? I can't because I've got my glasses on, and that means I can't focus on the screen because it's too close. That's better. You can see how bad the taper is. So what I'm doing at the moment is cleaning it out with the coarse one, the toothed one, and then I'm going to do it with the fine one. And I've also got here a nice undamaged, not unmarked but undamaged Morse taper, and it's beginning to grip it very well. So there you go. So the job is progressing. The job is progressing. I need to tidy up as usual. I've just had to nip up. Keith rang me up and said, can you come up, the canvas sheets come off the off the roof. So this is the roof of one of the kennels which has a huge tarpaulin over it to stop it leaking. So I just nipped up there, and that's all sorted. So I'm back here at the workshop. So I'm going to crack on. Did I show you the beautiful, yes I did, I showed you that last night, the beautiful clean area and the huge pile of scrap outside. I've sorted a load of metal out that I'm never going to use, and all that's going for scrap. So I'm hoping that a scrapman drives past and looks at the yard and he can take it all away. Right, onward. I'm going to get this taper reamed out. Unfortunately, the tap, the left hand tap for repairing this thread, was also due for delivery today, but the postman's a bit variable. Sometimes he doesn't come till 1 or 2 o'clock in the afternoon, so I thought I'd leave that till next week. So I'm going to get this sorted out, and I'll bring you back when it's a good fit. Bye now. Right folks, that is now coming on apace. Now although that looks like a lot of striations on that bow, that is actually very smooth when you run your finger over it. So what you're looking at is the difference between the new surface and the damage. So I'm going to keep going with that. And of course you must all remember the golden rule with any sort of reamer. You must never turn it backwards. Always keep it going in the direction it cuts in. Right? And if you release your pressure on it and keep turning a few more turns, it'll come loose, especially a taper one. But you must always turn it in the direction that it cuts. Right, onward. Right folks, progress has been made. I have just lost the torch, there it is, to show you if I can get the two things lined up. We still have a lot of striations until you run your finger down it. When you run your finger down it, it's smooth. Now I believe that this has been reamed to size with a reamer with the centre of it relieved, because as you run your finger down the inside, there's definitely a relieved area, right? So it seems to be that there's no contact in the middle, but there's contact, good contact at the top, and there's good contact at the bottom. So I blued up, I found my best looking undamaged MT2, and I have to tell you what, I've not got many of those, and I've cleaned it up and I've blued it up, and as you can see from that, it's striated, but it's coming out with good contact. And to be honest, if you just pop it down in sharply, it grips, and you have to tap it out with a piece of steel. So what I think I'm going to do is leave that as it is for now, and when I get it all back together on the lathe, I shall have another look at it, see if it slips, and if it slips I shall do some more to it. But there you go. But they certainly work. I mean, I put you can see on there all the blue where it had picked up on there. That has taken all the blue off, and you can also see here and there little metal cuttings. So they are cutting. They're not the sharpest reamers in the world, but then they didn't cost hundreds of pounds either. So there you go. Right, I shall now unpack these 2BA screws and try them in. Okay, I'll bring you back when I'm on. Bye now. And there we go, folks. Thanks to Graham Sea Dog from MIG Welding Forum. That's a perfect fit. And I found a matching brass nut in my wonderful box of small BA and metric screws. So that's done. And the rest that he's so generously sent me, I shall put straight into my tin of useful grub screws, so that I've now got spares. Thank you very much, sir, that's very generous. There it is, folks. Doesn't it look well? And it's all working, apart from at this end. When it gets to there, it starts to tighten up, and that's where you would expect the pin to eject the Morse taper. So they've obviously been abusing the thread a bit. So the good news is I've had a message on my phone that the tap has arrived at Driffield, so that will be a job for next week, to clean those threads, just to check the threads, the female thread is okay, and then to carry on cutting the very end of the male thread progressively deeper, using the adjustment on the die until it goes free right into the end. But I think we're making progress there. We've got the Morse taper is now gripping very well. I can't self-eject it because it won't go in far enough. But there you go. So we've done all sorts of different things this week. We've made progress. We've made progress on this boiler, and I've had a second thoughts. What I'm thinking of doing now is using this boiler as a water-filled boiler, provided it doesn't leak, which is something I have to check. And then I'm going to get these two heat exchangers, which are out of gas boilers, and I'm going to put those with the fan behind them, and we'll see how that works, blowing heat around the workshop. I think I've already told you that. When you get to my age, you know, you say lots of things twice. Right, that's it, folks. It's the end of the week, and I'm going to pack in now, or at least as far as you're concerned, I'm going to pack in, because I'm going to tidy this bloody bench up. So, thanks you all for watching. Thank you for subscribing. Please subscribe if you haven't subscribed. I'm still getting 70% of my viewers are not subscribers. It costs nothing. Just click the button, press the black bell, and every time I release a video, you'll get notification of it. See you all next week, guys. Bye now. Bonus footage, folks. I stayed behind, was a good boy, and I tidied up. Doesn't that look better? What a machine. Can I get you a nice long shot of the lathe? Not that sort of long shot, you idiot. There we go. See you all later. Bye now.